I'm actively investing in businesses the way it should have always been done, at least in my opinion. I'm Mike Michalowicz, and I started the prospergroup.org to work with businesses, perhaps like yours, that are struggling to get to the next level. I have a long-term friend, Greg, who said, Mike, you've had investors in your businesses. What do you think the ideal structure would have been with those? I said, well, Greg, I didn't want someone just to give me advice. It often became talk therapy, stuff I didn't execute on. And said, I didn't want people taking equity because I was writing check after check after check long after their value was gone. And even when I sold the business, they had a piece of it. So I said, I wish I had someone that gave me guidance, that was inserted in the business and worked hand in hand with me and didn't take any equity, and that their success was fully contingent upon my success. And he said, that's fantastic. So why don't you create it? And that was the inception of the Prosper Group. You can check out theprospergroup.org. If you are a $2 million company or larger, and you are working your tail off in your business, or if you're surviving check by check, or all the above, those are the businesses that we're investing in. We never take equity. We only share in the improvement, the success of your business. And after 3 years, we give you the keys back to your business, and you continue on in the healthier, better state. I think it's the ultimate win for small business. Maybe it's the ultimate win for you. Come visit us at theprospergroup.org and apply today. Hello, Profit First Nation. It's Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First. If you've been looking for a bank account to help you do Profit First right, North One has got you covered. It's the only business account with built-in tools designed in collaboration with and endorsed by me, Profit First Professionals, and Profit First Nation. With North One, you can set up Profit First envelopes with a single click and leverage the North One technology to automatically facilitate your allocations with every deposit. 320,000 businesses are using North One to simplify their cash management and get back to what they love. And how cool is this? Profit First Nation listeners get a $50 bonus when they open and fund an account. Go to profitfirstnation.com and click on step number 1 to access the North One bonus link and open your North One bank account to do Profit First right. North One is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services provided by the Bancorp Bank, member FDIC. Profit First Nation listeners get a $50 bonus when they open and fund an account. North One envelopes let you designate a portion of your balance to view on the mobile app or website to help you stay organized. For more information, see our deposit account agreement. Welcome to Profit First Nation, the official podcast for entrepreneurs who are operating their businesses in the zone of permanent profitability. I'm Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, and now, here's your Profit First Nation guide, Daniel Mulvey.
Welcome to Profit First Nation, the podcast for the top 17% of entrepreneurs with cash in the bank to correlate to their profitability. Profit First Nation is the podcast for intelligent entrepreneurs who have taken ownership of their financials and leverage Profit First as a cash management system to make their businesses permanently profitable. I am Danielle Mulvey, an expert at guiding entrepreneurs on owning their financials in as little as 11 minutes per day and doing Profit First right. If you are a fan of Profit First and its author, Mike Michalowicz, you have found your tribe. We are a nation of successful entrepreneurs driven to be permanently profitable with a grit and a growth mindset that lets no obstacle stand in our way in pursuit of the 3 Ps: passion, profit, and play. On Profit First Nation, we dive into advanced Profit First strategies, and we share the honest and authentic ups and downs of being a business owner. Today, we have a very, very special guest who is going to share her Profit First journey. Welcome to the podcast, Felicia Reed.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
So you have a very interesting background, and why don't you tell us how you got into business?
Oh, yeah. So I was a sonographer and ultrasound tech. I worked at a local hospital. I did that for 15 years. That was what I wanted to do. And then I had a hobby of photography. I had a hobby. I would do it on the side when my kids, because I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have 2 boys. And when they were little, I wanted to be the best mom. I wanted to make the best cakes. I wanted to have the best photo shoots, all the things. And I did it a lot. And fast pace, future pace it to probably like 2012, 2014. I really got into empowering women in portraits. And I was doing that on the side. And the rest is history. I quit my job and here I am.
Yeah, you quit your job and you went all in, and I think you said about like 2017, right?
Yes, I quit November 2016. Walked away from full-time job, nothing to lose, all to gain. And 2017 January, I hit the pavement, going just networking and absorbing all things business.
And somewhere along the line of becoming an entrepreneur, you found Profit First. So how did you hear about Profit First?
Well, it's a really cool thing. Well, of course, I came from the medical field. I knew nothing about business, but I know how to connect with people and I know how to talk to people. And I think that's just, led me into networking. Networking came easy for me. So I read all the books, like How to Win Friends and Influence People, and said, like, get out, meet people, talk to people. And I was networking and I hired this virtual or like a personal assistant that came to my home, and she was getting everything ready because I didn't know anything about anything. And she was working on my QuickBooks, and she was like, you need to meet, this bookkeeper, and she does Profit First. And I met Venus Michael, and that's kind of how it started early 2017 in January. But I got the book. I started reading it. I was like, I'll do all this on my own. Yeah, right. No. And then fast forward 6 months, I went networking again, and I joined a BNI group. And lo and behold, Venus was there. I was like, this is a godsend. Okay, this is what God wants me to do. I need to hook up with Venus. So that was in July. October of 2017, I thought I was going to do all this thing on my own. And I was like, just forget it. Venus, you can have this job. Like, I'm going to give this to you because it's not working. And so October 2017 is when I delegated it out. And I was like, you take over and let's just start out of, when I don't have a lot of money. So because in the book, I read about all the people that had a lot of money and had to go backwards,
Right. Yeah. So
that's how it started.
When you start out of the gate, you just hit those target allocation percentages out of the gate. But if you've been in business a while, you cannot do that, which is my penance I tried that. And that's why I'm the host of Profit First Nation now. But so that's amazing. And so Venus Michael is a amazing mastery certified Profit First professional who just is a rock star. And I've gotten to know so many of her clients now over the years. And she is a total gem of a bookkeeper and Profit First professional. So
yes.
Why do you think that you said, oh, I can do this? Because it's simple, right? You saw
simple.
that in the book. It's a simple concept.
Yeah.
But it seems like maybe 10 months went by before you delegated it. So what do you think held you up on that?
I think in the beginning in business, we always want to hold on to so many tasks and stuff. And we're like, we'll do this ourselves. And it's not our expertise. But specifically when it comes to money and delegating, first of all, it's time consuming. I had to read. I have to show up in my bank account every day. Twice a month, I had to go move money around. I didn't understand some things, and I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. And I thought I could do it. And so it was that analysis paralysis, right? It's so overwhelming and it is a lot. And I get it. Some people are DIYers, but for me, myself, I realize I'm not a DIYer. I'm a delegator. I can make more money if I'm just doing the things that I love, and bookkeeping and moving money around is not, I like money, but I don't want to do all those things. And so to me, I think over the course of those 10 months, I was reading, learning, being around other entrepreneurs, listening, and hearing success stories in other people's businesses, that I was like, this is a boss move for me. Give this, delegate it all, get a bookkeeper, let them take care of all aspects of that financial part. It will give me peace of mind. I will feel secure. I will feel successful, like I have a bookkeeper and I have money for taxes and I have all of these things. So it was just pride and just like letting go. I think it's a problem with a lot of entrepreneurs, is just letting go of some things and working in our zone of genius, and bookkeeping is not mine.
Yeah. And I totally commend you for realizing that your time is way more valuable working in your zone of genius rather than doing and keeping up with bookkeeping and such. And, Venus is a certified Profit First professional. She is a rock star of a bookkeeper. And she doesn't come cheap, just like, most 5-star quality bookkeepers, whether they're certified profit first professionals or not, the better the bookkeeper, the more they're charging to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So, I think that's something that also kind of keeps people from biting the bullet, I guess you could say, or making the leap and hiring a certified profit first professional bookkeeper, or just any sort of bookkeeper, and delegating that task is the cost. So, like, did that come into play for you, or how did you justify that?
Well, in the beginning, it kind of did, because I didn't understand, right? I was investing in my business, and I was trying to understand, the cost of things. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, that is a lot. But what did I know what a lot was when I was charging a lot of money myself? I think my beginning stages, I was charging $2,000, just for a photo shoot, for a minimum package, and I was just trying to wrap my head around the cost. I'm sure that came into play. But also, as I progressed along, which I moved fast, I was networking with Eagles and these incredible people, and just understanding that I had to invest in myself. And it was more reasonable for me to have Venus do this and pay her prices versus having a full-time employee, because that cost me a whole lot more, to do this. So, and as a portrait photographer, the way that I tell other portrait photographers why to invest in Venus or someone like this is because we pay hair and makeup artists. We are luxury portrait photographers, and we do things like we hire hair and makeup artists. We have, all these incredible things. We pay our makeup artists more than we would pay our bookkeeper. And when we really look at the numbers annually, we can easily pay $17,000 to $20,000 to hair and makeup. Why wouldn't we pay someone that's handling our money, making sure we're not getting audited and all those things, to someone that's going to actually take care of our money and delegate that out as well? So that's kind of how I justified it. I was like, she's just as important as anybody else on my team. She's very important. And I would rather pay the money to someone that is reliable and trustworthy and knows what they're doing. That was just it. That was when I was like, just let it go. You have to outsource some things.
Yeah. And I think also too, you mentioned, sometimes, again, very common, entrepreneurs sort of get this analysis paralysis, but let's focus on the paralysis. Sometimes, like, we get so stuck in what we coulda, shoulda, woulda been doing that we kind of end up doing nothing. And so again, that delegation, and I wish we had a delegation counter in here, because that's been a big theme that you've talked about right out of the gate that I think is so important. And delegation can happen at the early steps. And it sounds like that has been a real key to your success, because you mentioned that you actually had a personal assistant that you were delegating stuff to, and that's how you kind of then first heard about Venus.
Yeah.
But you started out of the gate, it sounds like, with delegating in your business. So again, like, you weren't getting stuck in the tedious stuff or the things that needed to be done, but weren't the best use of your talents and time.
Exactly.
So who do you delegate to today? So you delegate to Venus, your bookkeeping. What else do you delegate in your business?
Oh my gosh, I delegate so many things. So I have a VA. So I have a personal assistant that is physically here with me to kind of do all the running around and helping me on photo shoots and serving my clients deliveries and things like that. And I have a virtual assistant that has strengths that are different from my personal assistant. She's stronger in like Google ads, blogging, website stuff. So I just hire them out for a couple hours a month. I do have an attorney. I have a CPA. I have a commercial lender that helps me, make my money moves. Whenever I'm investing in things. Retouching as a portrait photographer, I delegate out retouching. I am not about that life, and that is something I can easily delegate. So those are kind of the top people: my CPA, my bookkeeper, my attorney, my banker, virtual assistant, personal assistant.
So you're really only holding on to what we'd say in clockwork is the queen bee role of being the photographer.
I'm trying. I really am. I am. I still have some things I'm holding on to, but I'm a personal, like I did the Clifton Strengths Finder, and I know my highest power is like relationship building and all those things. And so, that's where I stand. I am still trying to delegate even better. The sales is a big one I've been holding on to that I really don't want to hold on to.
Okay.
So I got to work on that.
So thanks for revealing your 2022 challenge. But what's interesting too is that, I mean, you're much more than a luxury portrait photographer. I mean, because you are killing it with your coaching side of the business too. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. So I am a mentor under one of our portrait mentors, but also I do a lot of sharing in our portrait groups. And so I didn't intend to do that, but I think as I shared my success and my struggles and my journey and profit first, all the things, just always talking about profitability and showing my numbers in our groups, to encourage people that, you could do this. Like, this is where I was, this is where I am, this is where I'm going. And so, it came natural. People would just inbox me, but, I didn't want to be like every other course that was out there in photography. Because in portrait photography, we do a lot of lighting and, how to price ourselves and making money, but nobody was teaching us mindset and how to keep the money, and it's a lot. Mindset was a big thing for me to get to where I am and to kind of let go of a lot of things. So I wanted to create this course. It was called Making Money Moves. I was recently certified as a mindset coach back in December. So mindset coach, certified hypnosis, EFT tapping, all the things. And this all helped me with, elevating to the next level in my business. And I wanted it to teach on something different that our industry wasn't hitting on, like that mindset aspect, profitability. You're telling us to charge all of these numbers, but there's so many photographers out there making 100K or more and not bringing in any money. It's like, how are you really broke? Like how? What are you doing?
So so explain, how is that? Like, I would figure if you're making 100,000 plus as a photographer, how could you not be making money? So
they're making it, but they're not keeping it, or they don't have enough money for the taxes and all of those things. And to me, a big component is you get the money in and it leaves your hands quickly. There's something in your past, a money story that you've had that you can't keep on the money. So to me, I had to hit on that mindset aspect. Why are you not holding on to the money? Why can't you keep on to the money? And then also, once they got their mindset fixed, this is what I do. I'm not a profit first professional, but I can tell them this is what I do. And I can show them, as a testament to, I'm not just telling you to do this. This is what I do. And I showed them in my course, this is how my money comes in and this is how my money goes out. And this is what I'm left with. And this is why you have to charge luxury pricing or you won't be left with anything to pay your bills. But also, talking about delegating and talking about, all these other aspects of that they're just not hitting on that I know in our industry. So it was very important for me to create a course and that touched on networking, relationship building the way that I've done it, because I never did, and to this day, never did paid ads and things like that. So it was all relationship building. So it was really cool. I didn't really even advertise. I just posted in my stories and I got 29 students from my beta group. It was like, whoa, that was really awesome.
Okay. So you've delegated the bookkeeping to Venus, but obviously you still own the financials of the business that you own. So
yes,
you own and understand, and you're the one that's making those money moves actually, right? I mean, yes. Venus is helping you just do the behind the scenes, the transfers from income to your various allocation accounts and such, but you're making sure that you're deciding what percentages are those allocations and such. And you mentioned that when you started in 2017, you were about $2,000.
Yeah.
What is your pricing today, if you don't mind sharing?
My average that I bring in from clients is $6,555 on average is what my clients spend.
So that's over a 300% increase.
Yeah.
In your pricing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly. And when you say that Venus just helps me with that, Venus is much more. My particular bookkeeper, I don't know about y'all's bookkeeper, but my bookkeeper, she looks at my past, my present, and my future, and she understands my goals. Even when it came to hiring, I would ask, she's my consultant. She's almost like my business consultant. I would be like, Venus, I want to hire somebody. Can I afford this? And she would tell me, well, based on your numbers, based on your financial records, if you keep up X amount of money this month, every month you can afford a FTE, one FTE. or I was like, Venus, I purchased my first commercial building, or I'm purchasing, I should close next month.
Yay.
And I was like, is this feasible? Can I afford, this much money a month? And she goes, if you do X, Y, and Z, let's back off of this. Let's stop buying clothes. She looks at my whole picture, as portrait photographers, if they're ever listening, we know, and they're full service like I am. They know that we buy a lot of wardrobe and dresses and fancy things to make our photos look the best. She's like, do you want to buy clothes or you want a building? Which one do you want? I was like, okay, I won't buy any more clothes. So I love that I have someone that can look at my numbers and knows my numbers just as well as I do, and can look at the whole picture of my whole financial history and tell me this is a good money move. This is not a good money move.
You're exactly right. I mean, you should have someone who you can be consultative with and who can, also help you be accountable as well.
Yes.
Because I think she's going to, point it out if that clothes spend ekes up again, right?
Yep, she surely will. And so it's been really great just to have her, to be able to call and talk to and about all things financial. I mean, just in general, she's watched me grow. I want to cry.
Oh,
because she has.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. But you have just been a total boss about everything that you've done and been so driven. What do you think is that real driving factor? Like something, like a light bulb went off, or something happened in you that just turned you from an ultrasound tech who had just been doing her job for 15 years and then was doing photography on the side and an amazing wife and mother. But what really, you just have had this huge transformation.
Well, there's so many, I mean, it'll be so simple, but people won't believe it. But for me, I have an incredible relationship with God. And honestly, I pray about everything. Lord, is this the right move? Should I be doing this right now? And just having that overwhelming peace when I make a decision. Any decision I make, I'm looking for that overwhelming peace to move, And then knowing that I've seen others go before me and do this. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just kind of have to trust the process. And then I have to look at past experiences and past success stories and know that at those times, in those moments, I had to make executive decisions. Should I go to school and, work on the weekend and work, go to school all week so that I can look forward to this career? So I look at it no different. Entrepreneurship is like, I know that I'm going to have to put in the work. I've done a lot of self-work myself, a lot of mindset stuff. I've had my own life coaches, my own self-love coaches, and I hear people's stories. I read all the books. I know I'm an activator. I just do it and I figure it out later. But I do it with the confidence that I know that no matter what I put my mind to, that God, he's going to open the door, he's going to close it. And it doesn't matter if it closes because it's not for me. I've just had enough in my history. I'm 45, 46. I don't know how old I am now. 46 years old. I've lived long enough to know that what is for me is for me. And I do so much with love and I just give so much that it just comes back to me tenfold no matter what. I just have that evidence constantly, giving to my clients, giving to the mentees, giving to people in my community, just constantly giving, that it just comes back to me and I'm just happy. And I think it's just at a peace that I'm at, that no matter what I do, just like our moms always told, no matter what you do, you put your mind to it, you'll be able to do it. And sometimes if it wasn't for me, it wasn't for me and it just didn't happen. But trust me, whatever I needed came and it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. The perfect person. Venus came at the perfect time. The clients came at the perfect time. I just put myself out there and do things with love and give so much value, more value than the money I receive to others. And it's just, it sounds so simple, but that's what I do.
Well, amen, because I feel the same way. And, look for that overwhelming peace and be very thoughtful about things. And, I think when you're mindful and you're thoughtful about things, the right things happen.
Yeah.
And you avoid the wrong things. I mean, you'll misstep sometimes.
Of course.
But I loved how you said trust the process. And you read Profit First and it sounds like you were ready to trust the process. It was like, okay, it's a proven process. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to do it. You got a little bit stuck in actually implementing it, but then you delegated to Venus and you got it implemented and such. But I think that's such a big thing too, is, you guys, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, look at the people out there and look at the big people out there. I mean, the big people out there, they're not perfect.
Yeah.
Their stuff doesn't work seamlessly. I mean, I could name names of like the biggest names in the business. I'll say Tony Robbins, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, amazing message, amazing, work on mindset and such. But like his under the hood stuff and his like follow up things and whatever, they're not that great, but that's okay. He's doing it.
Yeah.
He's making an impact. And you guys can too. Everything doesn't have to be totally perfect. People need you right now in this world, and find someone like a Felicia. Yeah. Felicia actually, and I've really never done this before. With someone sharing their profit first journey, but Felicia has programs, and they're not just for photographers. You want to talk about your new program, Making Money Moves?
Yeah, I liked it. I had a team, that helps me with everything, because I delegate, baby. I did not do this all by myself. I did it with a team, and we were just talking, and I was just like, the problem is all these photographers, they're just not making money moves. They're making the money, but they're missing something. And the reality is, like, all of there's a photographer, a dime a dozen, but how many are truly making money, living the life that they want, and, actually have money in the bank and feel secure in the times, especially in times like this, And so I was talking to them, they're like, that's the course name, Make It Money Move. So that's how we came up with the course name. But I wanted to create it again because there's so many photographers out there making money, and they're not keeping the money, and why can't they keep the money? Again, multiple things, mindset first. What is their money story? What is their history with money? Trying to figure out that, and helping them with their identity, because sometimes they're not making money because of an identity aspect of who they are and who they're becoming, stepping into this entrepreneurial role and what the successful person looks like. So we kind of touch on a lot identity, creating action plans. We work on creating achievable outcomes and action plans. How much money do they want to make? What does that look like? What would they have to charge? Then we kind of talk a little bit about profitability. And I kind of talk about, I recommend, I put, you need to read this book, Profit First. This is how I do my money, me and my bookkeeper. And I put it in there, and we kind of talk about profitability. And based on when they can look at how much money they bring in, and once it's all allocated, how much money that they have to bring home, can they really afford that and live on that? So they really need to reconsider, do they want to be a volume photographer, or do you want to be a luxury, low volume photographer, and where pricing should be? And then of course, delegating like a boss, that's one of the things. It's kind of like, okay, you're making all this money, but you can't get to the next level by yourself. How can you start delegating? So I introduced them to my team, and then we kind of talk about networking, like a boss. That's one of my courses within that course as well. And it's just to help photographers build that foundation. To me, this is all foundational. If you don't have your mindset right, if you're not delegating, like a boss, if you're not like putting money aside for taxes and structuring your money system right, so you have money for taxes, money to bring home, it's going to be rocky, and you're just going to fail. You're going to fail hard, And so I think these are foundational things that need to be taught. And networking, relationship building, like you can't make any money unless you're bringing somebody in, in the door. And to me, creating those valuable relationships, is very important, and was very, important in my work, in my business as it grew. And so I just created the course. And to be honest, it started out as photographers, but I have so many incredible clients. These are entrepreneurs, so many, like real estate agents, bankers, therapists, lawyers, like doctors. They're all entrepreneurs. And I don't see, and being a profit first professional as well, like they don't all make money moves, and they probably don't understand, profit first and all of these things. So I don't see why this course can't be for one of those entrepreneurs, because I have my client's a tax person, and she took my course and she absolutely loved it. And it just gives you a different perspective outside of your industry on the way to think about, making money moves. So
it really is cool when you kind of sync up with other industries and such, because it kind of gets you outside of your box.
Yes.
And we have obviously membership programs too. And, I had a chiropractor who showed up to one of our power sessions, and and we're like, oh, what do you have today? He's like, nothing. I just want to sit on the wall and hear what the guy that owns the pizza restaurant, the social media agency, and such and the doggy daycare, and all these people have to say, because it's like everyone is able to kind of like pick things off of other businesses. Like you said, I mean, business is business. And it's just, we might sell something different or package it differently and such. But making money moves is so important to every business, and it's really universal. So that is awesome. And your program sounds very cool because it really touches on the mindset thing. And that's such a big part because, I mean, where would you be today if you didn't raise your prices over 300% from 2017?
Burnout all the way.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Felicia. If you would like to check out Felicia, I mean, her website is beautiful. Her photography is just stunning, but she also has just a plethora of information and some really cool blogs as well on her site. And that's where you can also find information about her course, Making Money Moves. And that's just FeliciaReed.com, FeliciaReed.com. And of course, we'll have that in our visual recap that you can get at ProfitFirstNation.com and click on resources. And if you would like to work with a Venus Michael, another certified Profit First professional accountant, bookkeeper, or coach, then again at ProfitFirstNation.com, click on contact, and you can connect with one of my certified Profit First professional peeps. Cheers to another profitable day, my entrepreneurial friends. Profit First Nation website, related podcasts, and resources are provided for general information purposes only and do not constitute accounting, legal, tax, or other professional advice. Visitors should not act upon the content or information found here without first seeking appropriate advice from an accountant, financial planner, lawyer, or other professional.
Hey, this is Ro, and if you're a business owner struggling with hiring or just tired of doing it yourself, I highly recommend the Build Your Dream Team Secret Podcast series. There are 7 episodes packed with real stories from founders who've cracked the code on hiring, built high-performing teams, and finally got out of the day-to-day grind. My favorite part? It's not fluff. It's systems, strategy, and results. Text DREAM to 55444. That's DREAM to 55444 to check it out. You'll thank me later.